This video is brought to you by DICE, the global entertainment content marketplace. Welcome back to the Story Behind the Story series. In today's episode, we are talking with Ilaria Belletti of Sydonia Productions, an Italian film production company. If you're a buyer and wish to acquire any of Sidonia's phenomenal titles, or you're a seller looking to get your content out to a global audience, get in touch with us through our website, connect.digital, or email us at diesales@connectdigital.com. Without further ado, let's get into the interview. So first, thank you, Ilaria, for doing this interview. And just to kind of get going with the first question, I just wanted to kind of give you a platform to introduce yourself as a person, and share a bit about yourself.
Of course. So, hi, thank you for having me to this lovely interview. And my name is Ilaria, and I work for Sydonia Production, which is a production company based in Italy, in a region called Marche, in the center of Italy. And so mainly my role is sales executive of the company. It's a small independent company, and I started as to help with the sales section, commercial in relationships. I speak different languages as well, so that's how I also ended up in this role. I've started just a couple of years ago, really, just before the pandemic. So it's been quite a challenge. Also because my background is kind of different in a sense that I worked with training, with sales, with PR relationships, but this industry, I'm putting all my experience in this industry for the first time. So it's very interesting to learn everything and to overcome challenges also in this very peculiar time where entertainment is changing a lot. So so I'm helping Sydonia Production to expand and to bring forward all the experience. Sydonia has been working for 25 years. The director and the executive producer, he has 20 years and more of experience in production. We've been working with first advertisement and then moving forward with documentaries and then docufiction. And we actually now are also producing feature films, so feature-length movies. And we produce that. We actually produced our first movie last year. And another interesting challenge, because we were in Italy, especially, we had strong lockdowns and period of let's say limits. So it was cool.
Yeah, so that's interesting that you say that you only got into this recently, specifically before the pandemic. I just want to ask, what motivated you to shift into this industry?
Well, I always loved it. It's film industry and entertainment industry. It's my passion. I'm not an artist, but I do like to be involved with theater, with music. I'm a musician, and I just love the industry. So I lived abroad for a few years, and when I came back home in Italy, I found out about this company, and I said, I want to try it. I want to see if I can help. And my profile was what were they looking for, in a sense, only not about translation and being an interpreter, but also as a full complete role in the company to help with whatever they can with admin, translator, but also public relationship abroad, because we also produce internationally a lot. So we need this kind of role where we work in Italy, but also we are open to work and distribute internationally, which we love. So I introduced my CV to the company and I got the job. So I managed now to put together my skills into an industry that it was my passion. I mean, I'm not behind the camera or anything in a sense of creativity. I'm more I'm learning about this industry towards networking and people and admin. So what concerns all the administrations and all the organization in terms of like pre-production, and then also I'm fully available during the production to help with the crew and with the actors, and also with the COVID responsibilities, and then with the post-productions, which like I help with festivals and with events, and now we are bringing our movie to the cinemas, so I'm helping wherever I can with my experience, and of course with the organizations, because I'm part of the company. So we're working together to move forward with projects and with what we have. So, we still bring forward our catalog, because we have a full catalog of titles about documentaries and films and docufictions. And now, of course, we have to move forward with the projects that we have. So we are working on both sides. So using what we have and looking forward the future for new collaborations.
Yeah, so that's a kind of a good segue into talking about Sydonia Productions itself. I just kind of wanted to give you the floor to kind of share a bit of course you have already, but kind of introduce a bit more, because it's a very multi-talented production company. You're talking about documentaries. I've seen on the website animations, talking about TV distribution. There's a lot of things that are going on there. I just kind of wanted to give you that platform to explore kind of what Sydonia is.
So briefly, so our director, producer, Luca Trovellesi Cesana, is an Italian author and filmmaker, and he's based from Marche, but he's been traveling all over the world. That's how the passion also to tell stories began, I suppose. He lived in South America for a while, where he was managing also a TV channel there, and then traveling around the world with networking as well. He managed to have a whole catalog of interesting productions, and our main themes are history, religion, and art, and social issues as well, because we talk about a lot people lifestyles, and like not only like this specific person has this lifestyle, but more about what are the society's problems, what is it like to live in this and that place with this situation, with a different background and things like that. And we talked about history and religion, in a sense that we look into the different type of religions all over the world, and what are their characteristics, what unify and divide us. And it's a modern look into like the main religion, and there is a series of 11 episodes about like all over the world, and what it means to have a belief, a faith. And in that way, we also focus on another series that talks about 5 very important characters for Catholicism in Italy. So like, specific characters that influenced Italian religion. So it's a series of 5 episodes. And but we also talk about art, like as you can see on calendar. So Italy is very also famous for our heritage in art and history. So we take that advantage to talk and to talk in different ways about these people, this character of the past. So we have a documentary about the Leonardo da Vinci that was an international co-production as well. We have a documentary about Raphael, because he was born in Marche region, where we are from. So we discovered his lifestyle and all these paintings all over the world, because we travel all over Italy to discover his influence, and also to Russia, because parts of the world copied what we shared in Italy for years, for centuries. And also about the Mona Lisa identity, for example. So in that way, we started from a painting and to recollect the stories behind that motivation to paint that woman, for example. And also we moved from documentaries and series into more like docufiction, to make reenactment and to make something very, it's a little bit more interesting, more TV format, where you can, feel the characters. Not only we share facts and we share interviews, which are very interesting, because of course, we talk to experts that have been studying these things for years, and we discover mysteries, we talk about facts, and we also, try to reveal what's interesting, what's mysterious, and what's not. But also with the fiction, you have a deeper feeling of what's happening, of the character of from Jesus to Leonardo to Raphael. So we share facts in different and entertaining ways, and for that reason we work mainly for TV formats. So as I was saying, yeah, we work documentaries and docufictions, which is more like for TV. In terms of animation, we don't really have production of animation itself, but we have ideas and projects about more like animated and family history, family kids, family friendly histories. And but we do work with editing, with editorial department and with authors, and we are trying to also develop projects where more for kids, while the catalog that we have now, it's more like it's useful, it's visible for everyone, for everything, but it's more like documentaries about like adults, while we have projects that are mainly for kids or for teens, but we are still, it's a work in progress still. And now we switched because the fiction was so good, the documentaries are so good, that we thought, and also from the background and the feedback from the audience, we thought, why not switching to feature length movie, because it's a new format for us, and it's quite interesting. It's a total different story, it's a total different effort and work. So we were ready for that, and we tried to move to that direction. Of course, the pandemic hit, and it was it was complicated, because as I said, Sydonia works a lot. We co-production and with international broadcaster and international producer. We're always keen to find new opportunities, new possibilities. Like we work globally basically when we can. So the idea was we had many projects internationally, mainly ready to start, but of course pandemic stopped us for a year, and we reinvented our story, we reinvented our opportunities, and Luca, the author, together with a team and other productions companies and producers, we put together our efforts and our strength, and we produced this feature film. And it's an action comedy, and it's an Italian action comedy. Yeah. And it's all based in our region, Marche, which is interesting because we use the fact that we couldn't move, because of course, if you have the excuse, you could move around Italy, but it was complicated because we had a curfew, we had tests to do all the time. We couldn't leave our town, or we couldn't leave our region. I'm talking about between 2020 and 2021, so last year.
Yeah.
So we used that to join forces and produce this movie with a team from the Marche region. So we used different towns from the region, and we told these stories in this beautiful landscape. So in a way, it was also to advertise our region, let's say, because it's a beautiful region, but it's of course not as famous as Tuscany or the city of Rome or Milan. So we said, we have a beautiful region, let's use it. It's going to be complicated, but it was the easiest way last year. So it was a challenge, and it was interesting. And of course, it was not only Sydonia. Sydonia was the main production company, but we used the help of other experts and other amazing artists. So yeah, we produced our first feature film that is going to go to the cinema next month in May.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our work. Like, we are small and independent, but we have a strong connection. We have a strong network, and we never stop. We always work with Italian broadcasters, with international co-productions, and we try to distribute our catalog that it's for global entertainment. Like it has a specific theme, let's say, but we have many of them, and it has a global interest. So we try to distribute that all over the world, and we've done it so far successfully, and we want to keep doing that.
Yeah. I'm interested to know a bit more about this film, particularly because obviously all the productions you talked about prior to this are all somewhat revolving around the concept of culture.
Yeah.
in some way, whether it's Italian culture, religion, lifestyles, art, or even the religion and culture of other countries. So to go into a fiction feature-length film, which is like an action comedy, it's quite an interesting change. So I'm interested to know whether those themes appear in that film, or kind of a little bit more about it.
Yeah, well, we're still in a cultural sense because
Yeah.
It's an action comedy. So yeah, the script, it's interesting, it's fun, it's dynamic, but we're also in a very cultural landscape because the story starts from a real fact, something that happened for real in 1970s in Italy, in the Palace of Urbino, which is a very cultural city in Marche region where Raphael is from.
Yeah.
There is a museum where the paintings from Raphael are exhibited, and in 1970s there was like some thieves went into the palace to steal paintings from Raphael, and they managed to do that because it was the 70s and there was no like safety issues, or like they just went in and managed to steal 3 amazing paintings, very rare paintings from Raphael. And it was a huge threat for the government of Italy because they disappeared for a year and they took a year to discover these people and to get them arrested and recover the painting. So that happened for real. And now we took that idea to make the movie. So the movie starts from the fact that one of the thieves get out of jail. He finished his sentence and got out, and they start all over again. They want to retake paint Raphael, just one. So they put together this team of a mix of skills because we have the 2 prior thieves from what happened in the 70s. They're older, more experienced, but obviously older. They cannot manage to. Then we have a buyer this time. We have a buyer. They want the painting, so it looks like the perfect attack, let's say. But these 2 are old and they don't want to risk their life again. So they managed to collect a group of university students, and they have fun, and they try to steal yet again a painting from Raphael. And the plan looks perfect, but we'll never know what's going to happen in the end. So it's a surprise ending, let's say. So there is a little bit of action in a sense that they are trying to prepare, to have a perfect plan to steal once again this painting. But it's also a comedy because they're a group of they're not teenagers, but they're youngsters in college, and each one of them with a different personalities, and they're trying to put together these ideas. And with this cultural background of Marche, so we go through museums, we look at different arts, and we are in this landscape we have the sea, we have the mountains, we have the hills, and we have small villages from Italy, rural towers and churches. So it's nice. It's a mix of genres in one feature films, and it's a couple of hours long also. So it looks long, but it doesn't feel long because there's so many things happening, and we have a big cast. So you need to know each character, which is interesting to get to know them. So
I think that's a great thing as well, given that time to get more in depth with the protagonists of films, because that's a very, very important part to build a relationship with the people in the movie.
Exactly. Yeah. In and out. Like working with this cast has been amazing also because we have like the more, let's say, experienced part of the cast that can share a lot, and they helped each other. It was nice because we have one of the protagonists is only 18 years old, while we have his uncle in the movie, which is like his 70s. So it's been like an amazing experience for all of us, because it's been also the first experience for many people in the cast, in the crew. And the human side of the production was amazing because we had fun together. As I said, it was difficult, but the fact that we were a good team of people and we had fun and we supported each other it was just the experience itself that we managed to produce this movie. It was great. Also for Sydonia, because we have 20 years of experience, but
Yeah,
we're still
yeah.
growing, we're still learning, we're still experiencing new opportunities. So it was great.
Yeah, I just want to ask because obviously the lockdown takes precedent over the changes of production in any sort of like creative endeavor. But I was just curious to know what's the difference in production style between making a feature film, like a fictional feature film, and some sort of documentary or even a docudrama.
Well, so I'm talking from the point of view of what I've learned, because of course I've been
Yeah.
working for Sidonia just not that much, and I don't have much experience in production. Let's say that feature length movie, you have a huge crew for, like, if you're static in, like, for example, we changed, we had to shoot in different towns, but we stayed fixed in one town for like 3 weeks or something. So
Okay.
you have to manage like dozens of people. You have to manage, a very fit schedule, and coordinate a crew, coordinate a cast of like 10 to 20 people. And with a feature length movie, you have a cast, you have actors, you have people going in and out of the screen. You have a different type of budget as well, if I may say.
Yeah.
While the documentaries, you have maybe a smaller crew, because if you travel a lot, you just need a few cameras. And if you have a smaller part of fiction, you might not need a cast of 20 people. You might need
Of
a cast
course.
of like 10 people. You shot a few scenes with very specific costumes, no change of clothes that
Yeah.
much. And that's it. So it's a different, let's say that probably documentary, it's more dynamic and has a different budget, and it has a different schedule as well, because you might have to mix interviews and then a little bit of fiction. While a feature length movie, you have to deal with like maybe 2 months of shooting with hundreds of people in it, and you have to organize everything for everyone, basically, from traveling to costumes to day schedule, day and night, week, 1 week yes, the other week not. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Of
mainly
course.
about managing people, probably, let's say, or managing your schedule within all the people in that, because maybe documentary is just a crew of 10 people, while in the feature length it's a crew of 50.
And of course, yeah, doing that within the pandemic and staying within a certain region of your country as well.
Yeah,
Um,
also the pandemic was complicated because we produced in the month between May and June,
okay.
which we in 2021,
Okay. Yeah.
and we still didn't have much freedom for about like
Yeah.
moving. So as I said, we had a curfew, and also we need to do continuously tests, because we were living in our own bubble. We were living in a hotel and in different hotels, and we had to check people going in and out of our bubble, let's say. So test every week, or if, for example, some actors were not with us every day or every week, because they had different like jobs booked. So we
Of
had
course.
a few schedules where actors were coming in and out. So every time you step into this bubble, you have to take a test, and when you get out, you have to take another test. And curfew also. So be careful when we had to shoot like night scenes. So be aware or check with with authorities what you could do, what you could not do. Yeah, wearing masks all the time, of course. We still do it here in Italy, but that was very, outside, outdoor, indoor masks all the time.
Yeah, of course.
So more permissions, more. Also, it happened also for locations. Like if you need a location, a public location, and of course there is people in it, and you from like maybe a public space that you need to ask for permission to authorities. It was difficult that as well, because you cannot bring a crew of 50 people in a
Oh,
place where
yeah,
you should
yeah.
be careful with what comes in and out in terms of like germs and things like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
finally, location scouting was also you wouldn't think of it, but it was also something in the matter of it. The movie was based nowadays, like in 2020, 2021, but it was not a pandemic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know? So in the movie, there's no mention to problems in terms of disease or pandemics. It's just normal world, let's say. So that is as well. If you have like, that's also why you have to get tested all the time. You have to live in this bubble because you cannot wear masks in front of the camera. And you have to also construct the everyday life on the background of the camera. So for example, you shoot on a main square, you shoot in a museum, you cannot use what they have already. You have to like take people away, like people you don't know away. You have to take in backgrounds of people that you know that they've been tested and you have all the data and etc. So you have to construct the movie even more, if that's the right way of saying it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You cannot show people go walking with masks on.
Because that would make sense.
The movie, you know?
Yeah. So kind of that, again, a nice segue into kind of exploring some of the other titles that Sydonia has, because you have 15 on Dice at the moment. Which is
we do have a lot.
Which is amazing. And some of those, as you mentioned, some of those are like Raphael, like art-based documentaries, or some of them are currently like kind of culture-based. Like one that I was looking at was The Zone, which is obviously based around kind of Chernobyl, Ukraine. And I was particularly interested because, it has a lot of kind of tributes or inspirations by like the movie Stalker or even the video game, which is, being somebody that's interested in that sort of stuff, movies and video games, I found that particularly interesting. So, I just kind of wanted to explore maybe a few of those, like, Well,
we can talk about, we have two. It's Living Toxic and The Zone. These are not specifically Sydonia production. As I was saying, we also have networking and collaboration. So Sydonia was not in these places. We had like other producers and photographers that are more used to telling these specific stories, because they're very dangerous places and you need to be really, really, really interested in those kind of disasters to get into that. It's also strangely interesting also nowadays because of the current affairs that what's happening now in Europe. So it's cool to see the history that goes back to what we had. So this group of guys that go into this, like, let's say toxic and very out of the world now places, and they want to tell the story. They want to know what's happening now. They want to know what's going on, and also tell the story of people, these stalkers that still live there, and then maybe they don't want to leave their home. They also want to, they help them to tell the stories of this home and how they live now and what's happening and what's interesting and what's dangerous on the other side. So these are our partners and our partners, let's say, that have been there, and we help them to distribute their work, and because these type of documentaries are a little bit different of the style of Sydonia, because Sydonia is very much curated. We have the fiction, while these two documentaries are more like real lifestyle. They go there and the camera is on them, and it's more like a rough cut, let's say, compared to what we have. So that's how we work with different styles. We produce with different styles, and we also distribute. And these people, these partners are from Marche region as well. Our catalog is very big, but it's even bigger because we try to promote and to acknowledge our partners, our collaborators, our colleagues from our region, because Marche is not that famous, but we have so much talent and we have so many people that travel the world to tell stories. Nobody knows that are from these small towns of Marche. So we're trying to work together and to promote these amazing documentaries, because maybe we might have the networking and they might have the talent. So we put these things together and we put all together in our catalog to help each other and distribute. So it's as I said, it's a rough cut about disasters of the world and what happens in that side of the world, which is, as I said, very interesting, because now story is repeating again. So it's cool. So if anyone is interested in these two titles, contact Sydonia Production, because
because they are amazing. Again, they give insight into culture. So whilst it being entertaining somewhat, even though these ones are constructed a little bit differently from others like docudramas, they are still very important into knowing, especially if you're interested in current affairs of like, geopolitics and things that are going on in the world right now. They'll give a pretty good indicator into the history of certain cultures and countries, which I think is a very, very valuable thing to preserve.
Yeah, especially in these places they are difficult to reach,
Yeah.
or is it like, of course, no, like it's not easy to go to these off limits areas, so you need to be prepared and you need to be willing to do that. But also some situations might be referred as illegal, or to protect people, or just to protect the face of a country. But if you do it in a respectful way, in a very like sharing information respectful way, these documentaries are great to understand what's going on, and to have people that do the job, let's say, for you. Is like, okay, I go there, what happened in this place? Are still people here? There are young people still there living and trying to rebuild their life, or trying to share what they have. So that's the human story side, which is interesting as well.
So kind of moving forward, so obviously you got this feature-length film that's coming out next month, and that's going to be a huge thing that's going to take up a good bit of your time promoting that, going to the festivals.
Really has.
Yeah. I mean, already will be definitely on that post-production and promotional side. In the future, what do you think your titles will be like? Do you think they're going to be a mix of both? Do you think you're going to lean more into one direction than another? What's kind of the future of Sydonia Productions, if you will?
I think we're going to be leaning into both direction, that we are not tired of making documentaries. So we still have projects. We still want to talk about stories. We still want to talk about biographical histories. So like we'd like to talk about stories of people that has been an influence for Italy and for like the rest of the world. We still have stories to tell. So we would like to keep producing documentaries, depending on the projects and depending on the interest of the audience, of course. Like, of course, you have to take one project at a time to see when it suits better to be produced. But we love to make feature-length movies now. So we have big projects that take some time. We are working hard to produce a family fantasy movie, which is even more complicated than an action comedy. So it's a very nice history that also takes the story from Italy, but also involves a broad international co-production. So it's a mix of like, fantasy and real story about kids. So it's for everyone, family, teenager audience, which is very interesting. But we also have, Italy is so full of history and mystery. So we have also a movie about a story of the past based during the World War II. And we're trying to produce that. So yeah, we have so many ideas and so many projects. So we want to have leaning both parts. So documentaries, we have that kind of experience. So as long as we have an idea and we have the help and the funding and the interest, we go with that. While the movies, it takes a little bit. It takes a little bit more. So we're working on that. So this is not going to be our first and last movie. So we want to work more we want to get that experience in feature films.
Because it does take a lot of effort, and the way you're talking about Sydonia, rather than just moving forward, it's expanding. So, it's growing, all of your productions are growing, which inevitably will mean like your crew will want to grow, and the funding will want to grow. And that's quite very ambitious, but also coming, off the back of a pandemic, quite a difficult task. Do you find that to be something you're cautious of, or are you confident in like just, that expansion?
Well, kind of both. We are very confident because we have the experience, we have the team, we have the network, we have the connections, and we we are ambitious, but because we know that it's difficult, but we can manage to find a way.
Yeah.
It's also scary because things have been changing so much. Like
Mm.
Sydonia has never been stopped in like one place at a time. Like being in the office, stuck in the office for a few months, that's been like different. But also,
Yeah.
yeah, it's, as I said, everything that it's new and scary is also interesting in a way, because we are learning, like the world of entertainment is changing, because as well as, you know, after 20 years of experience, we were so used to work with broadcasters and with TVs. And now on the other side, it's full of streaming platforms, which
Oh
is
yeah, yeah.
so many new ideas, so many new formats. So things are changing, things are different, but there's so much space, more space for everyone, for ideas, for new talents, for new formats. So both, like, we are ambitious, we are confident, but we know that it's difficult, so we are trying our best. And yeah, we are expanding, and yeah, it takes a lot, but we can do it, we can manage.
I mean, yeah, you brought up a very, very good point of like the advent of streaming platforms, OTT services, because that kind of falls in line with your expansion. You know, a demand for very high quality content, but on a regular basis. I mean, that's something you're beginning to provide, is more different content, which, you know, is very, very a very valuable evolution for Sydonia Productions.
Yeah, that's also a way to, you know, to get to know more catalogs, but also we have such a full catalog that it's cool to give more space to it, to give more international knowledge to it, to, you know, not rely only on TVs, but we have the internet. And it's full, it's scary, but it's also a great opportunity to, you know, to get to know more people and to get to know things has been hidden, or they're smaller, or, you know, there's place for everyone, so internet helps with that.
What would you say? I mean, we've touched on this quite a bit, but what would you say would be the appeal for Sydonia Productions? What do you think appeals the most to audiences?
Well, I think our way of telling stories, like the way we share the stories,
Yeah.
of course, like the quality, it's high-end quality, and both on documentary, in like documentary way, but also in the fiction way. We try to give our best, we try to give our best shot, and you always to search for the highest quality that we can give. But I think what we can give to the audience, what it's appealing, is just the way we tell stories and the people that we involve when we tell stories. So the hosts of the documentaries, or the characters that reenact that type of scene, or the experts, like the contact we have, but also that we cannot just limit it to one point of view. As I said, for example, Raphael is an Italian painter. It's an Italian master painter, and it's coming from Marche, but we just do not limit his presence in our region. We went to Milan, we went to Florence, we went to Russia to see his influence. So we try to get a bigger picture. We try to involve all the points of view, and we try to involve their life, not only like what brought them to be that
Yeah,
master,
yeah.
what brought them to be that famous, or that important, that peculiar, or that influencing. It's a way of telling stories, I suppose. It's a way of taking that story, taking that character, taking the picture, and, you know, trying to share as much as possible, trying to make it entertaining, try to make it interesting. We want to give the audience a way to be attracted to the TV, not like being bored and switch channel, or care more of the advertising compared to the movie itself. So we want to make it exciting about something that's maybe very peculiar. We want to make it exciting about this fictional character, or this real character that, you know, it's about religion, but yeah, it's religion. But if you're not a religious person, you should know about this, because this is part of the history, this is part of the knowledge. We give it to you in this interesting way. We try to discover the facts. We try to keep it a little bit mysterious, but we don't want to tell lies. So
Yeah, yeah.
the mix of, you know, how to choose this style of telling a story, basically. And you know, we hope that we are successful in that, and hope that the audience so far has been always happy to listen to our titles, to share our titles, to broadcast our titles. And yeah, I hope that we can keep doing that in a successful way.
No, that is a very, very beautiful thing. And I think, the educational side of your content is a very, very valuable asset as well,
Yeah.
because it's teaching people something without them realizing that they're learning something. They're just watching that for entertainment, and then suddenly they know more. And I think that's a very great thing.
That's also what we hope, because what I learned in the years, like for me, it's like my own experience, that I take for granted the art and the culture that we have here because I grew up in Italy. So of course I'm not a know-it-all, but
Yeah.
if you grow up surrounded by, especially from schools, if you grow up surrounded by art and history and the history where we grew up. So Italy has a way of teaching history in a different way that other maybe European country does. So I take for granted this type of knowledge. But for other countries, it's more like from a niche perspective. It's for like, maybe if you go outside Italy and you didn't study art, it's not granted that you know Raphael, or it's not granted that you know all the paintings from Leonardo da Vinci, unless, I don't know, you go to museums specifically. So what we would like to do is just to share what's for us is mainly, it's like maybe everyday lifestyle. Like, I go to these, I know all the painters that come from Marche region, and it's just me. If you go abroad, it's like, what are you talking about, Ilaria? It's not like here in Northern Europe, we don't really know what is it like.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
We want to share it. We want to use documentaries or doc fictions, movies to entertain, but to also share the fact that there is a whole art background in countries, not only Italy, but maybe Italy has influenced Russia, or has influenced France or Germany, or also maybe our relationship with Spanish-speaking countries that share a lot in terms of religion, for example. It's a mix of like, we bring this knowledge, we want to share the knowledge as much as we can, and of course it's in our way, Sydonia production way of telling, Luca Trovellesi Cesana way of telling it. But we don't work alone. We work with the team of people. So we want to share this knowledge, and we want to make art famous. We want to make history famous, or archaeology also famous.
No, I think that's a very, very great thing. Just to kind of finish off, because I think we've covered a wide variety of topics. I've really gotten an insight into what Sydonia Productions really is. I just kind of wanted to ask before we finish up is if there is anything specifically you feel like we haven't covered, or something that you want to share.
Yeah, could be nice to give space and to give opportunities to maybe hidden talents and to small production companies, because it was hard back then.
Of course.
It's harder. So I understand that it's hard also for the other side. So broadcasters and streamers, it's hard for them to understand what the world wants right now. But it could be nice to give more space to specific maybe arguments, not like to all give reality shows and commercial stuff. Yeah, there is a space for that, but could be cool. Well, now let's say streaming platforms are helping that, because there's so much choice. There's so many ways. But it's just, let's keep our minds open and let's search for interesting stories, to specific stories. And even just, keep our mind open in a sense that maybe you're not interested in that type of topic. But if you see that it's been told in a different way, and it's not like so close-minded, but we open space for discussion and open space for, to just search for the truth and search for stories, search for, just be more interested in culture, let's say.
No, I think that is a very, very good point.
In the world, really.
No, I think that is very, very good, and I hope that's something that we can provide. We can provide the right broadcasters and the right platforms to share that content, because it's very, very valuable. So thank you so much for doing this, Ilaria. I really appreciated it.
Yeah, it was very nice being here with you, and thanks to Dice Connect to give me this opportunity to be in the platform and to work with you guys and to be involved in this conversation. So thank you so
It's
much.
a pleasure from both sides.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you again for this. And if you need anything, or if you need any feedback or any help, just let me know, and
Awesome.
I'm happy to work together.
What do you think of this episode? Let us know down in the comments below. As always, you can get in touch with us through our website, connect.digital, or email us at diesales@connectdigital.com for business inquiries. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. Have a great day.